It's the God of Thunder and the Rabbit. Here's your look at the Hasbro Avengers Endgame. This is Thor and Rocket Raccoon. The Asgardian Thor wields the mighty Stormbreaker in his battle against his foes. Meanwhile, Rocket teams up with a new crew to guard the galaxy from an even greater threat. I suppose the first thing we'll do is figure out how tall the figure stands. We'll start with the tallest, sorry Rocket, and then we'll go to the smallest. To the very top of Thor's head, according to the Ultra Measure-Tron 5000, you look at the figure standing 6.2 inches in height, which in centimeters works out to be 15.7 centimeters tall. We're going to go ahead and have a look at Rocket. Get that back to normal, Have a look at the smaller character. Sorry, Rocket there. And to the top of Rocket Raccoon's head, he's about half the height, give or take. 3.3. Ah, my eyes! 3.3 inches in height, which in centimeters works out to be 8.5 centimeters tall. Let's get some size comparisons going on. So we've already had a look at the Incredible Hulk. I don't know if he really calls himself the Incredible Hulk anymore. We'll just call him the Hulk. And we also had a look at War Machine. There we go. Standing right behind Rocket Raccoon, just to draw attention to the fact that he is a smaller character. Sorry, Rocket. I'm sorry, Rocket. Here are the figures that we've looked at thus far. Hulk, I would say, should be a little bit taller than Thor. I don't know what Thor should be against War Machine, but I guess those are about the same heights. And I guess Rocket Raccoon, to his unfortunate credit, is probably about that height in the movie as well. I hope everybody, by the way, is enjoying Endgame. I still haven't had a chance to watch it yet, so don't spoil it. Please don't. Of the accessories to come included with the figures, to come included with Thor, of course, you get Stormbreaker. I really do like the fact that Stormbreaker comes with this kind of translucent electricity that's attached to the end of the blade. From what I can see, it's permanently there. There's no removing it. You could pull on this till the cows come home. But the cows come home, and what they'll come home to is you crying on the porch step because you broke the end of Stormbreaker. So even though it is translucent plastic, even though it does look like it's something that can be removable, not even the strength of Hercules would be able to pry that away, and that's going to break in the process. So I do like the fact that it's translucent plastic. It does have a noticeable peg on the outside. I'm guessing this Stormbreaker was probably used with another Thor release, one of which that included the Infinity Stone, which would likely be attached to the end. Remember, we did a whole bunch of those reviews? You can go back and have a look at those. No, don't go yet. When this video is finished, feel free to beeline it over and have a look at those older reviews, but I think that's basically what this is for. Same thing with also Rocket Raccoon's blaster, both of which have been reused from, my guessing, the Infinity War lineup, and the Infinity Stone would have been gone onto the top of that. So I think they've added this additional piece. Other than that, it probably is the exact same Stormbreaker as we saw before. It can only attach in one of Thor's hands. On the other hand, I have to get a t-shirt of that made one of these days. On the other hand, he does have a closed fist. So you can't put anything into that hand. Again, until the cows come home, they're going to only come home to you frustrated, kicking and throwing pebbles around because you're upset for the fact that Stormbreaker only goes in one of Thor's hands. That's just the way life is, man. Just got to move on. Just got to move on from the fact that you just can't change things like that. Can't change the things that just can't be changeable. Change things only that is changeable in your own life. That's so deep. Anyways, looking at Stormbreaker in Thor's hand, I guess it sits relatively well. It does require you have to pull the fingers away and the thumb away to put that into his hand, like so. And at least he does have articulation in the forearm, so you can rotate those all the way around. As for, I'm not forgetting about Thor, by the way. I know somebody's like, well, are we going to look at the figure? Well, we are, just in a second. Rocket Raccoon also comes with the blaster that I'm guessing has come from the Infinity War lineup. It does fit into his hand, and I was kind of perplexed initially as to which way it should go. Part of me feels like the blaster should have gone this way, and then I would have taken the hand of Rocket and kind of wedged it in between. But then this hand doesn't quite, well, I guess it does fit this way, but it does feel like it sits kind of, that ain't right. That looks like that ain't right. So I decided that it could actually go this way as well. Now, if you have picked up this figure for yourself, you can certainly display this figure any which way that you want. I'm deciding for this, I'm going to display the figure like this. If you don't like that, well, pick up the figure, you can display it any which way you want. So anyways, that is how I'm going to have Rocket displayed with the gun, because I feel like this would be the top of the gun, you know. I mean, I guess you could, well, you can't, you wouldn't be able to, his hand wouldn't be able to hold anything else to the gun. So again, this is what I'm going with. This is what we've agreed upon, me and the producing team behind the scenes. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, coffee? Yeah. Just put it over there. No, I'm just in the middle of something. Yeah. I'll be right there. Okay. Yeah, he's looking at his watch. No, I'll be right there. The producing team. There's no producing team. I'm by myself in this room. So that's what it looks like in his hand. That's what the accessories both look like in his hand. Seeing as though Rocket Raccoon is so small, I'm going to just allow him the luxury of being able to hold that giant cannon while we have a look at Thor. I know I didn't forget about Thor. I knew I was going to be coming back to him. Now again, I have not seen the movie, so please do your best not to spoil it for me. The regular responsibilities during the day and looking after the little one, and of course the regular job and all that fun stuff, I just haven't had a chance to have a look at it. So respect others that haven't watched movies. Don't post vague things in the hopes that you think you're not spoiling it. It ultimately will spoil it for other people. So anyways, we're having a look at Thor with, I'm guessing, the quantum suits. We're going to go ahead and stick with that for the time being. It's the same, in fact, suit as Rocket has. It's also the same, in fact, suit that the Hulk had. So it's not much different that's changed, other than the fact that the size of the character in which the suit's been put over top of. For its credit, it does have some nice coloring to it. What little coloring it does have. It has, of course, the meshing of the black. It's going to be really hard to kind of look at these figures and not be able to formulate different comments, something of which I could describe differently for each character, because ultimately their suits are going to be looking, well, you saw it with your own eyes. They're identical to one another. What I will say, though, is Thor has some unique things about him. Like, it looks like his torso, it looks like he's sucking it in. Some attractive individuals walking by, sucking it in. Kind of looks like that's what's going on here. He's got a really flat chest, and it sort of throws off his proportions because it does look like he's got a really thin torso. His feet are also slightly bent as well. I'm not sure why they had to bend the knees for both of these. It ultimately causes the figure to have a little bit of problem where he doesn't want to stand. I found one workaround to that is if you brought one foot back and keeping the other foot in the front, the figure does stand when the feet, sorry, my hands were in the way. I hate doing that. The hands were in the way. When the feet are in front of one another, it seems then fine that the figure is able to stand A-okay. Now, I don't know if they have used the exact same head portrait as the one that we had gotten with Infinity War, because I feel like the little cuts, the little shavings, what would you call it? The little buzz cuts on the sides of Thor's head, I don't think are actually in there in Endgame. Please don't spoil it for me. It also does seem the case that they've reused the exact same head. By the way, the head is really low on the neck and leaves a considerable amount of gappage, as you can see, from where the head is supposed to be to the rest of the neck. So I can't help but feel we probably have gotten that same head before, and likely maybe we're getting the same body as what we may get with another figure as well. I mean, it's a smart bet for any company that's producing toys based on this line. If all of them are going to have the quantum realm suits, logically, I mean, I would do it. I would do it. It's cheap. Producers are saying that's cheap. No, I would do it. Yeah, well, no. Hold on. If they are using the exact same suits, wouldn't you just want to make use of the exact same molds? He's telling me that's cheating. Okay, it's apparently cheating. But yeah, they might have even reused this same mold for another figure. Kind of just mental snapshot this figure. See if you can remember this for any future figure reviews that we're going to have a look at. Posability on Thor, his head rotates all the way around. It hinges up and down. I mean, to its credit, for the fact that the way it's attached to the ball joint, it certainly does. I mean, it does give you a little bit more of affordability when it comes to rotating the head and such. But it does seem like that head doesn't really belong on that body. The arms rotate all the way around. They hinge outward. They bend at the elbow. That's kind of awkward. The forearms rotate all the way around. And he has no hand articulation. For Thor's legs, it does that. It does that. That's as far back as it goes. Unfortunately, it doesn't have leg back articulation. I don't know if that's something that a lot of people are asking for. Some people might even feel like, why are you even showing the fact that the legs don't go any bit further back from that? Well, I always feel like if you want to do the splits on a figure, I mean, you would want to see at the very least why the legs go all the way back. Just because they have a stopping point, I still feel the need to want to point that out to you. If you want to buy a car, you'll still ask the person at the dealership, how fast can the car go? It's not to say that you're necessarily going to be able to drive the car that fast. Legally, you probably will have a problem with being able to do that, but it will still be a question. You'll always ask in life the limitations that something is able to, well, what the limitations are of anything is. So I just feel like that's as far as the legs go. If you wanted to go beyond that point, sadly, that's not the case. It's just not going to happen, Jack. So there is the Thor. Let's get his legs properly misstepped so that you can at least see a Thor standing upright. And let's have a look at Rocket Raccoon. Now, I'm most definitely considering uttering the words, I've seen this figure. You know what, I'm going to say that. This figure I have seen before. Probably, again, changing, obviously, the body, making use of the body here. I don't know. I don't have the original Infinity War Rocket Raccoon that I can compare it side by side with. Obviously, they've sculpted it differently to make it look like the one that Thor has. But again, without it being able to have the original one in front of me, I want to still say that this is the same Rocket Raccoon that we have gotten with the previous Infinity War as well. Even like the way that the arms are posed. I'm not 100% certain there. Not a lot, again, to spend talking about because, well, the suit is pretty much identical. The colorings are identical. The head sculpt is good. I don't really have any problem with it, and I don't feel like I had any real problem with the Infinity Rocket Raccoon either. Really good head sculpts on all of them. Well, this one and the one before that. His arms, unfortunately, are kind of posed in such a way that without giving him a gun, it does, like this specific hand right here, just kind of looks weird. It's like, you know, if you ever go up to your dog and you say, give me paw, does anybody even do that anymore? Give me a paw, give me a paw. The dog puts the paw up and you kind of high-five the dog. It kind of looks like that's what Rocket Raccoon is doing here, or Rabbit, as Thor has called him. He doesn't have much in the way of posability, but we can certainly discuss that right now. His head rotates all the way around. It hinges up and down. It rotates left and right. Arms rotate all the way around. They also hinge out. And unlike Thor, the hands actually rotate. So that is something. I guess you could rotate the hand this way, but that kind of looks like he should be carrying something, like a loaf of bread, because he's very delicate when he's carrying his loaf of bread back home. But the hands do rotate as well. The legs hinge forward. The legs hinge back. The tail rotates all the way around. How about that, Jack? It's a bad attempt at rhyming. Well, actually, that was a good attempt at rhyming. The tail rotates all the way around. Again, you could do that until the cows come home, and not in the process of doing so, drop the tail. Remind me, we'll have to go back to the tail. Tail, unfortunately, is probably one of the most required elements for Rocket Raccoon because that's the one thing that's going to help the figure to stand upright. Without the tail, he's kind of just propped up on his feet. So most definitely don't lose Rocket Raccoon's tail, whatever you do, or the figure is going to topple over. Now, between the end of this review and the beginning of Final Looks, I did acquire the Time Stone, and in that, I was able to fast forward time to see some of the comments that the mob left down below. And some of the comments were mentioning the fact that the gun was put the wrong way around. Okay, so I went back in time, back to Final Looks. That's a lot of effort just to do Final Looks. But in Final Looks, I decided to put the gun the opposite way around, and actually, come to think of it now that I see it, I actually kind of like the Rocket Raccoon blaster now the way that I have it. Sure, it looks like he's sort of playing the piano with the one hand, but at the very least, he's holding the gun, I think, in a little more of a comfortable pose. Thor still has no issues wielding Stormbreaker, and even though this is the same Stormbreaker and likely same reused parts that we've gotten with many of the Infinity War figures based on only these two figures, so that's kind of a general assumption to be making, despite for the fact they are reusing some of the parts and making use of pretty much the same design body on all of the figures, still liking these figures for their simplicity. That seems rather redundant to say that because most collectors are probably going to want a little bit more of an elaborate figure, but I guess for the kids, I have to always be considering the children out there that are going to be wanting to pick up figures leading up to the movie or coming after the events of watching the film, weeping away and probably wiping away their tears. They're probably going to want to go to their local toy stores and get figures based on some of the characters that they saw during the movie. These are ideal figures for that. Anybody that is screaming that these figures should have more posability, should have better head sculpts, I'm guilty of this as well. I understand I'm guilty of saying all those words myself. I still have to keep reminding myself that these are basic class figures, and with that, also inherit the fact that these are geared towards kids. For somebody who wants a little bit more of a higher end figure, you can always go the route of a Marvel Legends that basically gives you the same type of figures with a better head sculpt and more articulation. Either way, if you guys are interested in picking up the basic class of figures, this 2-pack of Thor and Rocket Raccoon should be available now at your local retail stores. So good luck and happy hunting. Today we were having a look at the Avengers Endgame. This was Thor and Rocket Raccoon sporting the exact same outfit. You would never be able to accidentally grab the wrong outfit and try to put it on for yourself. Rocket Raccoon would basically be swimming in his outfit. Thor would probably be able to get Rocket's outfit up onto his leg. His one leg. That's about it. Like I said, if you guys are interested in picking this one up for yourself, should be able to find them now at your local retail stores. Good luck. There you go. Make sure you hit that little subscribe button down below, my friends and colleagues of the mob, because certainly more videos like this, maybe some more endgame stuff will be coming your way. And you never know, maybe I'll actually see the movie before getting into more of the figures. Probably not. I'm a little behind when it comes to some of these watchings of these films. It's just the fact of trying to allocate some time in my life. I always seem to be always on the go, always seem to be busy. But I always try to make the arrangements when a really cool movie is out in theaters, and rest assured, this humbled reviewer will be seeing Endgame at some point. Please don't spoil the movie for me in the meantime. As always, guys, thanks for watching, as you always do. If I'm not going to say if you've seen the movie, but if you've picked up these figures for yourself, let me know what you think of them down below, or based on this review, what you think of these figures down below. Let me know. As always, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you guys next time.